Guys, you're not going to sedate yourself anymore. You're going to sit in it. You're going to eliminate things. You're going to get rid of toxic people. You're going to learn how to shut it down. You're going to learn how to know what you want, not what other people want you to want. If you do these things, then you don't have to get drunk. You don't have to get high. You don't have to escape your life because you're excited about the relatively few things you're doing, not apathetic about the incredible amount of things that you're quote unquote supposed to do. I recently saw a statistic that upwards of 40% of men in the workforce are feeling burned out. And of those 40% of men who are feeling burned out, up to 83% of them are suggesting that it is negatively impacting their personal and professional relationships. Guys, this is a problem. And I think the problem stems from the level of apathy that I see in so many men because we are overly inundated and bombarded with marketing and information and social media accounts and entertainment and everything else that comes into our feed on this stupid little device that is incredible, but also very damaging and destructive if we don't know how to utilize the tool correctly. It's the same thing as a hammer. What an incredible tool. We can hammer a nail in, we can frame a house, we can build incredible things, and we can also smash our thumb, and we can also crack somebody over the skull with it. And it can become very dangerous unless we know how to temper and harness and use the tool correctly. This is a problem. Your apathy is a problem. I'm seeing this trend continue to rise, continue to increase, and I'm seeing young men who are fed up, who are frustrated, who don't believe they can get ahead. They don't believe that the government is going to help them, which it's not. They don't believe people are after their best interest, which they're not. And they're giving up. Guys, that is a problem. Your apathy is your undoing. And I don't care if you're a 18, 19, 20-year-old young man trying to make it in the world, or if you're a 40, 50, 60-year-old man who has done work for decades at this point and are not producing the results that you desire. I've got a few strategies and tips for you that can get you over this level of apathy that is permeating every fabric of society for our men. Let's talk about it and break it down. Number one, you have to know what you want, not what everybody else wants you to want. Let me say that again. You have to know what you want, not what everybody else wants you to want. Again, I already told you, you are bombarded and inundated with marketing messages, with hobbies and activities and interests and this and that and events and programs and brotherhoods and all these other things that are available to you nonstop all the time. I don't care if it's me sharing something with you, or if it's Jocko, or if it's Andy Frisilla, or if it's David Goggins or Terry Crews or Matthew McConaughey or Dave Ramsey, Dale Brisby, who I'm having on the podcast soon, Mike Chandler, who I'm also having on the podcast, John Lovell, who's also coming on the podcast, DJ Shipley. Like, these are guys who I really admire and respect. And even myself, I hope you listen to what we're doing, but also I don't want you just to assume that because I say it's good, or this person says it's good, or that person tells you to listen to it, or that person tells you you should do this or do that, that you have to do it. This is part of the problem with self-help. It's a self-help hangover. I personally get it myself. I listen to podcasts. I read books. I go to conferences. I go to events. I subscribe to newsletters. And there's only so much that your mind can take because you're a human being, biologically hardwired to focus really well on a few things, not everything. So spend some time thinking about what in the world you actually want in your professional life, in your personal life, with regards to your health, your relationship with your creator. What do you want this to look like? You, not me, not any of those other guys or anybody else I listed. What do you want? And then be ruthlessly committed to going after what you want. Number two, eliminate or delegate everything that you do not want to do. There are soul-sucking activities that you are engaged in. For me, podcast editing, would be soul sucking to me. Taxes and recording my books and finances would be soul sucking to me. Now, I realize those things need to be done. I don't want to do those things. And I'm not even speaking ill of those things. They need to be done. And there's plenty of people. Chad, who does our podcast editing, does a phenomenal job. I imagine, based on the conversations that we have, this is not soul sucking work to him. It is to me. It's not to him. So guys, we need to find work that we're deeply, deeply engaged with, excited about, enthusiastic about, and then we need to get rid of or delegate everything. Now, you cannot do this all at once. When I was early in my podcasting days, I was the presenter like I am here. I was the editor. I was the promoter. I was the janitor. I was the email guy. I was the quality control. I was everything. And over time, in a very prudent way, I delegated those tasks that I did not want to be doing so that I could focus on the things that I really want to be doing. Doing this podcast, reaching out to potential guests, going out and meeting with people who believe in our mission and want to support what we're doing. But all that other stuff went by the wayside. And you might not be there yet, but what I would suggest to you is that you spend some time documenting, write it all out. What are the things that I do on a daily basis? Here's the 30 things I do every single day. And maybe 2, 3, 5, 10 of those things you personally need to do. And the rest you can either get rid of because they're not important, or you can delegate those things. You may not be able to do it today, but as long as you acknowledge what it is, then you can start pushing those things off onto people who are really good at that, which frees up your time to focus on what you want to be doing. And I'm not saying that your entire life needs to be all the things that you want to do and it's going to be rainbows and fairy tales and sunshine and ignorant bliss. I'm not saying that. Sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do. But the more we can move you into the things that excite you, the less apathy you will have and the more fulfillment you will have in your life. Number 3, eliminate the people that suck your soul. And there are people who just suck the life out of the party. There are people who just drain your energy, who are energy cookie monsters. They just consume everything in their path. They're takers, they consume, they're self-aggrandizing, they're self-serving, they don't care about you. All they care about is their own well-being, their own stories, their own hobbies, their own activities, their own interests, their own drama. I don't care about those things as a human being. Okay, and those individuals who suck the life out of my life and out of the party, not doing that anymore. Because when you have those types of people in your life, here's what happens. You tune out, you check out, you stop listening, you stop engaging, you stop responding, and they're stealing so much of your time and your attention and your energy, focusing on the things that are important to you. Men, have boundaries in place. Sometimes, yes, we do have to communicate with people who we don't like. We have to communicate with people who are selfish. Have boundaries in place, not for them, but just in general. You know, if somebody comes to you and they're a life-sucking source in your life, just flat out tell them, hey, look, I appreciate you're going through your thing right now. I'm very busy. I have to accomplish this and this and this and this. In fact, you can just ignore people. You know, I get messages from people and they want my time and attention and energy, and I try to give it to them as long as it aligns with what I'm trying to accomplish and my own goals and objectives for the relationships I want to have. But there's some people I just don't feel like I need to respond to. Not everybody in my life deserves my attention and energy. Sometimes my kids will laugh at me because I don't feel obligated to answer the door when the doorbell rings. Think about that for a second. How many times have you had people come over to your house unannounced, uninvited, they'll ring the doorbell, and you feel, or your wife feels, or your kids feel obligated to answer the door? Why do I have to answer the door because you thought that my time wasn't as important as what you were after? Now, I try to be gracious, I try to be understanding, I try to be empathetic and compassionate, but the reality is I have to be very protective of my time because I want to focus on the things that matter. the things that are important to me, and everybody else is scrambling around to get everybody else's attention and make everybody else feel good and help everybody else. I'll do that within the constraints and the parameters that I have personally set up. So I don't answer my phone when it rings if I don't know the number. I don't answer the door when it rings if somebody has not been invited or comes over unsolicited. I don't answer every email. I don't respond to every comment. I can't. I don't want to. I want to focus on the few people that really matter, that care about me, that are not selfish, that I can build relationships with. And so I eliminate everything else, or at least reduce it to the degree that I can if I'm forced to interact with somebody. All right, number 4, get better at fewer things. I was getting my haircut done today, and the woman who was cutting my hair and I were talking about small talk, anything and everything, and she was asking about my hobbies, and I gave her a few hobbies, and I said, "What are your hobbies?" And she said, "Oh, I do everything. I'm just not good at anything." And we laughed about it, and we joked about it and played, but it stood out to me. We are doing everything, and we're not good at anything. Now, in some cases, it's okay because it brings you happiness. If you want to be a casual weekend fisherman, by all means, do it. If you want to casually pick up golf or pistol shooting or jujitsu, by all means. But what I would suggest to you, to go back to point number 1, knowing what you want, not what others want you to want, is that you should only focus on the things that are going to enhance your life. And once you find those things, go deep. I think fulfillment is found in going deep on the activities and the interest and the things that you desire. I really don't think that we can have a lot of fulfillment by hanging out in the shallow end of the pool. It feels good on the feet, but it isn't swimming in the deep end. And as men, we want to swim in the deep end. We want to take the risk. We want to explore uncharted territory. We want to dive deep and figure out what's down there when the sunlight isn't impacting the depths of the water and the ocean. That's what we're after. And so many of us are hanging out in the kiddie pool where it's a foot deep so we don't drown, and we think, oh, this feels great because our toes are dangling in the water. Guys, go deep. If you're going to get into jiu-jitsu, go deep. Be the best player that you can possibly be. If you're going to get into Pokemon, which is something that I have actually got into, believe it or not, because my youngest loves it, then go deep. Figure out all the characters. Figure out all the cards. Figure out how to take care of your cards. Figure out how much everything costs. Figure out the investment. Go deep into it. If you want to build a movement, like we're doing here with Order of Man, maybe you're doing a professional job full-time right now, but you want to take something on the side full-time, go deep as you can. Enough of this surface level nonsense. You cannot make any sort of impact if you just dance along the surface. When I started Order of Man, I was doing 2 hours in the morning, then going to my real job, which was a financial advisor, and then spending 2 hours at night on the Order of Man stuff. Guess when it took off? When I sold my financial planning practice. It was risky. It was scary. I had to convince my then wife that we should do it. It was a real struggle. But as soon as I sold that financial planning practice and I went all in on the Order of Man stuff, that's when the business took off. That's when the movement started to grow. If you aren't willing to go deep on something, there's a problem. And if you dance around the surface on every little aspect of your life, you're going to have apathy. You're never going to feel good about the progress that you're experiencing. Go deep, sell out, go all in. Be bold, be courageous, burn the boats, if you will. Be prudent, sure, but go all in. And guys, the last thing that I'm going to tell you, and this impacted me in my personal life, and I know it's impacted millions of other men, no more sedation. 0. No more sedation. No drugs, no alcohol, no pornography, no gambling, no boozing, no womanizing, no addiction to video games or binge watching TV shows you don't care about. Done. You're done as of today. Those feel really good in the moment. And that's why I started drinking, because I just wanted to shut everything out. I was so stressed and overwhelmed. And I'm not making excuses for the decisions that I've made, but I am identifying reasons. And I was so stressed out and I was so overwhelmed because of all the other things that I was talking with you about, that the only outlet that seemed available to me at the time was to turn to the bottle. And when I turned to the bottle, it was great in the moment because I could get drunk, I could check out, I could get wasted, I could pass out, and it was amazing for that moment. But the impact that it had on the greater scheme of things was a real problem for me. Obviously, I went through a divorce, rebuilding relationships with my kids, changed my finances, changed every aspect of my life, even impacted this movement and how I'm influential with you guys, because I was trying to sedate, because I was trying to run away from the very things that I just shared with you. The first 4 steps that I shared with you, I was trying to run away from that. I was not embracing that. And so I had to escape. I had to escape my own life. And it felt good in the moment, but it created real problems for me. Guys, you're not going to sedate yourself anymore. You're going to sit in it. You're going to figure it out. You're going to eliminate things. You're going to get rid of toxic people. You're going to learn how to shut it down. You're going to learn how to know what you want, not what other people want you to want. If you do these things, then you don't have to get drunk. You don't have to get high. You don't have to plop your ass on the couch and play video games or binge watch the newest Netflix series. You don't have to escape your life because you're excited about the relatively few things you're doing, not apathetic about the incredible amount of things that you're quote unquote supposed to do. Guys, I do not want you to have apathy. I see this growing in our young men. They don't think they can get ahead. They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in financial institutions. They don't believe in the government. 83% of men who are dissatisfied with their work are saying that it's affecting their personal relationships. They're going through divorces. They have estranged children. It's not good. And if we embrace these 5 things, let me recap. Know what you want, not what others want you to want. Number 2, eliminate or delegate anything that you don't want to do or work towards it. Number 3, eliminate people that just suck the life out of you. They're just soul-sucking creatures that you cannot have in your life. Get rid of those people. Number 4, get better at fewer things. It's about going deep, not wide. And the last, you're not going to sedate yourself. You're just not. And if you feel tempted to pick up the bottle, pick up the booze, pick up the joint, pick up the video game controller, you message me and I'll tell you not to. Because as I've put the bottle down, my life has got drastically better. And I know it will for you as well. It's definitely uncomfortable in the short term, but a lot better in the long term. Guys, I hope this helps. Your apathy is your undoing, and I do not want to see you undone. Follow these 5 steps. Follow along with what we're doing. Share this message on Instagram, on socials. Leave a rating, review. Let people know what you're listening to. If you've got an apathetic man, whether it's your brother or your cousin or your father or your son or whoever, colleague, who is apathetic about life, they're not alone. But send this message to them and let them know that they've got some action steps. They've got some things that they can do to improve their lives. Your life will be better, theirs will be better, and we'll all be better. Man, we have so much work to do, so much work to do. And we're scratching the surface on what we can do and what we will do. I've got some very, very exciting guests coming up who are going to rock your world, and it's going to be exciting. 2026 is going to be pretty amazing. I'm not waiting till January. I'm starting now. But it is going to be amazing. Again, reach out to me, share this message. That's my ask of you guys today. I hope this message resonated. If you have any other thoughts, ideas, insights, considerations, or questions, hit me up on the gram at Ryan Michler, and I will answer you there. All right, guys, we'll be back next week for our interview. Until then, go out there, take action, and become the man you are meant to be.